So admittedly, it is a little bit sad that there's only one more episode of Chainsaw Man. This experience for myself has been pretty fun, and to be honest, it's been quite a long time since I've sat down and enjoyed an anime week to week, especially making videos on it. It's not something that I normally do, something that I don't really like to do, but with Chainsaw Man it's been nothing but fun, and I've enjoyed seeing the creative decisions and interpretations that Studio Mappa has obviously gone for. It's been a really great time, and it's going to be sad to see it go with the final episode, but I'm more than happy with what they were able to achieve. While it may not be up everyone's alley or everyone's cup of tea, I think there's a lot of great to be pulled from this, a lot of things to be happy with, to be proud of, and considering the animation industry is very rough and volatile, and it's very easy to get a really bad adaptation, not because of the talent that's involved, but because of the horrendous scheduling and timing. It's very refreshing to see so much passion poured into every single episode. And let's not forget that every episode has had a different ending every time, with new music, new visuals, just to round everything off. I say all of this in the front of a tiny bit of controversy, more so a misstep or misdirection by the translation team for a couple of different companies, more specifically one, that I would say misinterpreted the intentions of a character. I really don't want to start this off diving into the negative aspect of this episode, but I think it's worthy to point out a pretty genuine mistake. There is a moment that has a bit of a translation error that changes the continuity of something that happens within the future. And I say continuity lightly because it doesn't necessarily destroy the moment, but emotionally it definitely could. As we know, Aki is getting a brand new devil, the future devil. Their interpretation is played up a lot more. Very energetic, very light and coyish and really playful. I think this is good. However, I think this translation error has taken place because they've tried to mimic the personality of the future devil with the words being said, which is pretty normal and natural. This isn't the case, however, and that would be my idea on why it actually went wrong. This is the oddly translated future devil line, and this is the real one. There's not much difference between them, and you're probably thinking, oh, it's not that bad, it's pretty interchangeable, yada yada. There is a moment within the future where the official line, this one, is very powerful. It's very emotional, it's very iconic, I would say, for Chainsaw Man, and it does a lot to really full stop a specific scene. This top scene, however, does not work. It does not match with the scene that comes within the future, but it does match with the personality of the future devil. So what do? Well, it turns out they've already kind of fixed it. I think a lot of places already that were potentially using this one company's translation have gone back in and actually fixed it. So if you do watch the episode again, you might notice that it's actually changed to this original dialogue. Honestly, it's not the end of the world, but I do find it a bit weird that this one error took place. Out of all the places that they potentially could have gone wrong, and dialogue being a very powerful tool within Chainsaw Man's manga and very specific, this one's kind of the most focused, and I would say it's garnered the most attention because of where the outcome actually leads to. Pushing that aside, this was a great episode. A lot of different things going on, but mostly sitting within the moment, building it up, gaining tension, constructing this atmosphere, and trying to suffocate you all at the same time. There's a couple of really cool tonal clashes within here that I really appreciate. They always center around Makima because she's the most iconic, but when you add Kishibe into the scene, here's someone that is a seasoned veteran, someone that does not listen to other people, does not take orders from anyone else, so when you put them in the same room, they clash. Kishibe is very outspoken. He speaks his truth, he speaks his mind, and he calls out Makima on all the faults, lies, and deceptions that she may be trying to do. It's eerie, to put simply, but it's very well constructed. That whole scene with them sitting at the table talking to each other, brilliant. You don't know what's going to happen. You're kind of worried that Makima might flip out, or even Kishibe might flip out, but it does bring up more questions than actual answers. See, there's a lot of mysteriousness surrounding Makima, and I'm sure a lot of anime onlys are really intrigued with how powerful she is, why she has all of this knowledge, why she's able to maneuver and do all these things with such grace and ease. Is she just really powerful, or is there something more sinister here? The fact that you don't get any of those answers I think is great, but I do enjoy the approach Mappa took in giving a little bit more attention towards her that's more tunneled in, more focused on. So it's more apparent in a lot of different ways with how she navigates through the story, especially this episode where it's very clear that she has ulterior motives and intentions, and that she's not the upstanding individual that she makes herself out to be. There's more here. You can see it in her eyes, you can see it in her facial expressions, you can hear it within how she talks. It's a scary thing, but I do believe they're doing a great job in hiding all of the truth and intention and the mysteriousness surrounding her scary nature. Because I guarantee you all right now that even if you think that Makima is the villain, or that she's bad, or that she's this evil monster, you won't know the specifics. You won't have all the right answers. And that's the most enjoyable thing about her. She's a lot more complex than a lot of people think. Even margaritas kind of get caught up in this idea on what she actually was to what she actually wanted. They're very different. And I'm excited to see how they continue to unravel her within the future, most likely within Chainsaw Man Season 2. She has a couple of different scenes that are very enjoyable. The one with Kishibe that I just mentioned, and another one with the Yakuza where she slightly showcases her power. I think this is the final proof that people need to understand that she is not a person to be messed with lightly. She doesn't need bodyguards, she doesn't need assistants, she doesn't need anyone really. She can handle everything in her own regard for a goal that she may be working towards. These are brilliant scenes, I appreciate them. A lot of them are spliced with Aki, a little bit with Denji and Powell when they're learning with Kishibe, but a lot of that attention is definitely focused towards Aki. Again, very standard, the show has put a lot of attention onto him because he's a very emotional character, which is kind of ironic to say because he doesn't show that much emotion. When I say that he's an emotional character, I mean that a lot of things center around him emotionally. He is a pillar for this story. For Denji, for Power, for Makima, and Himeno. There's a lot of emotional elements that correspond with his being, and I think this is why MAPPA give the detail that he deserves. So it makes it clear for us as viewers that we should be focusing on him, we should appreciate his character, and we should watch his growth from here. Even though right now we know that he doesn't have long left to live, and we know that his future/death is going to be the worst thing imaginable, not the coolest, not one that's going to rule, the absolute worst, you still can't take your eyes off of him. I love this. I think it's a great approach. Balancing that with Denji and Power and their overwhelming personalities is really good, and I think they've done a brilliant job throughout this whole season. But of course, we can't bring this show to an end without leaving on some pretty massive moments. So the end of this episode is the start of it, a specific raid looking for the Snake Woman and Katana Man specifically, but with some remnants of the very first episode. The zombies that were part of the Yakuza that had abused and used Denji for a very long time. They're back, but we also get introduced to some brand new characters that a lot of you are going to love. First and foremost, Beam, finally here. He is a fan favorite, he has been for years. Very simplistic guy, someone that rivals Denji very well in the characteristic departments. They're very funny with each other. We have Spider, who is as menacing as ever. You have Violence, who definitely has a story of their own and is very unique within the Chainsaw Man world, but doesn't really get the, I guess, detailed or overall explanation that you may necessarily want. There's spoilers there, I'm not going to give it, but you may build that connection later on, most likely within season 2. And finally, Angel. We even have a nice little moment to moment with Aki and Angel, which is very nice, to put simply. Without going into too much spoilery detail, their relationship is very important. It does a lot for Aki to realize a lot of things about himself. Not his sexuality, but more so his compassion towards people, towards devils. This is one of those times. Angel is a person that has not had it easy, and the bridge or connection between Angel and Aki also links to another individual, which I will not mention. But I'm very excited to see all of these new characters thrive and be loved by the community, some more than others, obviously. To bring this episode to a close with all of them fighting the zombies alongside Power and Denji, Aki is the one to go look for Katana Man, and he comes across the Snake Woman, and their fight begins. The Snake Woman is not someone to be taken lightly, but she has a couple of tricks up her sleeve as well, even though Aki has improved, quote unquote, since the last time we saw him. He's a lot more fluid, he's a lot more tactical, and he's handling himself a lot better. This is in part due to the future devil living in his eye and being able to see a lot of things that are a couple of seconds in front of him, which gives him an upper hand. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows. He does struggle, he does get overwhelmed, and it's because of the other devil that the Snake Woman brings out, which is Ghost, Himeno's devil. Again, just another way to kick you down if you're still hurting about Himeno's passing, and how this is still affecting and influencing Aki's decision making. Even though the episode ends right there and basically teases you on this greatness, the little bit of animation that you get is very beautiful. I love seeing Aki go against Ghost and really do his best. It's weighty and impactful and just looks really nice. On top of that, the actual ending, also very good. Song, as usual, very nice, very chill this time, nothing all too crazy. However, the visuals, very creative, very different. A bit of tonal whiplash for myself, traversing from the episode to the ending. It's not a bad thing. I just find it rather funny that you go from severity to characters dancing very energetically within the ending, especially Power. They love doing these type of things, getting crafty, getting creative. Again, it's visually very beautiful, very dark and ominous, which again, another common theme, but it's mixed in with a lot of personality. I love it. I think it's very well done. I am very much excited for the final episode next week. I honestly didn't think I would talk about the whole series every single episode every single week, but here I am, and I'm very glad that I did. It's been fun, and I appreciate all of you taking this journey with me, especially if you've come from the Chainsaw Man journey that I've done with the manga to now the anime. Thank you for your support. I very much appreciate it. The final episode is going to be very amazing, so let's enjoy it together. But let me know your thoughts right now. Thank you.